y'all, I'm back. It took me long enough, huh? Life has been crazy. I just want to say welcome to all of you that are coming back, and anyone new that finds me, hey, I'm glad you're here and I hope you'll stick around. My name is Kim and I am the dyer behind Driftwood Farms Yarn and Candle. And this is my yarn story. This is my knitting story. This is I spend a lot of my life knitting and dyeing yarn and running a little yarn shop. And I want to say something about the local yarn shop. If you have one in your town, go there. Give those people some of your time. We have people that come in the shop that don't necessarily buy our yarn because maybe they can't afford it, or maybe they just want to knit with acrylic yarn, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. We don't sell acrylic yarn, but if that's their thing, I'm good with that. If they want to come and sit on the couch in the shop and knit on a blanket or knit on whatever it is they're knitting on, I'm happy they're there. We have had recently one of the staple yarn shops in a town that's about, I don't know, about 90 minutes from here, just closed because no one wanted to buy it. She wanted to retire and no one took the offer. And I'm telling you, if I lived in that town, I would have done anything I could have to buy that yarn shop. It beautiful yarn shop, but she's gone now. And it's sad for me. Every time I went to that town, I went to that yarn shop. So I'm sorry she's gone, because she was such a resource, not just for yarn and needles, but for knowledge in her community. And now her shop is gone, and that's too bad. And then we just got notification just this week that a yarn shop in another town that's about, I don't know, an hour from here is closing their doors. And they are a huge resource around here, huge. And she's retiring, and I don't know if no one wanted to buy the shop or they just decided that they wanted to sell the buildings. I don't know, but she will probably be closed up by May, and it's just, oh my gosh, my heart skipped a beat when I found that out, because they truly are a resource for the community. I'm doing a test knit on a sweater, and I didn't have any hand-dyed yarn that really fit the bill for the sweater, and I needed a non-super wash in a certain weight. And I called them up. Well, I actually just sent them a message and I said, hey, can you help me? And they were right there giving me their suggestions. And I mean, such a resource for the community. And now they're gone. And my little yarn shop is very boutique. It's mostly, we have a few commercial yarns, but mostly it's yarn that I dye. And so we don't have that. We're very boutique, and I like it that way, but we are trying to get some more commercial yarns in the shop. So and we're trying to grow. We're trying to get to a point where we can put our dye kitchen and our candle studio within our shop, so we don't have to dye offsite and pour offsite. That's our goal. Whether we get to do it in the town that we're in, or whether we have to move to a different town, I don't know. We live in a really small town on the Oregon coast, so I'd like to stay here. I don't know what else to say, but if we don't have the support of the community, it's hard to stay. And we have a very, very, very active knit group, very active, and they're here a lot and they support us a lot, but we need more than just them to really make the shop go. So we'll see what happens. But support your local yarn shop. Those people are there to guide you and help you, and so give them a shout out and go to your local yarn shop. Off my soapbox now. I'm so glad you're here. It has been a crazy few months. We've had festivals and COVID. Got COVID for Christmas. Merry Christmas to me. We ended up having our Christmas with our family 2 weeks after Christmas, so we could heal up. It's no joke, you guys. I'm not, I'm not here to tell you what to do about COVID. That's up to you. But that stuff's no joke. I was so tired forever. I'm still tired. All I want to do is sleep. Who has time to sleep? I had my birthday in there, and now that I am a woman of a certain age, how did this happen? You guys, I just turned 60. Where did 60 years go? I'm just... We also have the anniversary of the first yarn we ever dyed. That was this week. That was the day, by the way, January 17th, that my newest granddaughter, Ruby, was born. If her mommy says it's okay, I'll stick a picture in here so you can see her sweet little face. And I'll stick a little picture of the socks that I made for Ruby in here. Her little feet. She's got some toes because I made her newborn baby socks and they just fit her. Oh, she's so cute. So cute. And her mommy's doing such a good job. So to Shannon and Ruby, congratulations. We're happy you're here. And we're happy that you got to share. Is it the 17th or the 18th? Now I'm questioning myself. 18th, I think. We get to share the birthday of our first yarn with Ruby. So good day to be born, Ruby girl. You didn't make my birthday, but you almost did. So happy birthday, Ruby. Anyway, this is a knitting podcast. So without further ado, let's get to the knitting. Let's start with, what am I wearing? I am wearing my, I don't know if you can see it better this way, maybe. I'm too close to the camera, I think. I wish I would have put smaller buttons on it, but I'm wearing my reluctant homeschooler sweater by Boy the Knitworks, I believe. If I'm wrong, I'll put it in the thing. I love this sweater. I had a couple sweaters quantity of this yarn. Now in the pattern, this sweater is knit in this beautiful, like variegated Aran weight, bulky weight. And I just had this gray. I had a couple sweaters quantity of it. This is a non-superwash Australian 100% merino, 19.5 micron, bouncy, squishy, yummy yarn. This is my favorite yarn to knit with. This, not necessarily this weight. I gotta tell you guys, my hands hurt so bad after I knit this sweater. I haven't knit on this big of a weight in a long time. This is an Aran weight, but I would say it's closer to a bulky weight. I haven't knit on this big a yarn in a long time. DK is probably the biggest yarn I've knit with in the last 5 years. And just the size of the needles to knit this yarn, my hands hurt so bad. And I was like, man, I'm out of knit shape. I need to knit on some bigger yarn. This is crazy. I don't understand why it hurt so bad, but I did. Anyway, I love this sweater. It says you knit the sleeves first, which is kind of interesting. The construction of it's kind of interesting, really. You knit the sleeves, then you knit the lower part of the body, then you add the sleeves, and you kind of knit a yoke back and forth to get this V. I wish I would put smaller buttons on it, because I put pretty big buttons on it, because I thought it's kind of a bigger sweater, so the bigger buttons might be fine. I wear it all the time. If I'm cool in the house, I put it on. It's really warm. If I'm just going to run out to the store or something, I put it on. I love it. But you start with the sleeves, and it tells you in the pattern that you need to measure the sleeve and against your gauge to see if it's going to be long enough. Mine are probably 3/4, maybe a little longer than that. I wish they were a little tiny bit longer or a little tiny bit shorter. I'm kind of in that place of where I wish it was a little bit either longer or shorter. Other than that, I love this sweater. I would make it again in a heartbeat. I think it would be really, really fun to knit it in a maybe with a brush surrey, or a mohair. I think that would be fun. But I really love the sweater. It was a quick knit. I don't think it took me, I don't know. You could probably knit it in a couple days if you just knit. I mean, it didn't take me very long to knit it, and I love it, and it's really nice, and it's a good weight for this time of year. We're sort of leaving winter and entering into this like almost faux spring here on the Oregon coast. And this happens a lot. Things will start budding out because it's been a little warm and we've got a lot of rain, and things will start budding, then it'll freeze. And that's kind of what's happening right now. So maybe another month or so we'll get true spring, but we're kind of in a faux spring right now, which is good. It's so good to see the sun. It's just like a breath of fresh air out there. You walk outside, it's been raining. Everything smells so fresh and clean. The sun's out. Oh my gosh. I love where I live. I'm truly blessed to live where I live. But how about you guys? Seen a lot of snow lately in the podcasts and in pictures on Instagram and things like that. So it's kind of interesting to see where everybody's at, what everybody's doing, and what everybody's living in. I lived in Alaska for 7 years, and I'm done with like below zero and 4 feet of snow overnight and all of that. Although I do love the first snow every year, and if you live right on the beach, you don't often see snow. So I wouldn't mind, a couple inches of snow overnight and then go away the next day, just so I can see that beautiful blanket of snow. I don't know, if you've never lived in the snow, you may not know this, but when the first snow happens, everything, the acoustics are different outside. It's like walking outside into a black and white movie. It sort of changes the way things look. The first snow of the year is just, it's beautiful. It smells good. It sounds pretty when you walk in it, and the way it changes the acoustics of the world. It's just, beautiful. But then it can go away, because living in snow is a different life. And I'm not so living in snow, but I do like to see it. I like to go visit it. My husband doesn't even like to go visit it, so we don't get to go very often, but I do love to go visit the snow. And then I can come home and live in the rain. I don't live in a rainforest, but sometimes it feels like it. We do get a lot of rain here. So Anyway, back to the knitting. Sorry, I digress. What should we start with? Should we start with finished objects or what I'm working on? Let's start with what I'm working on. My whips. I don't have many right now. Usually I have a few more things going on, but I do want to talk to you about a couple of them. One in particular has me really frustrated. We'll start with that one and then we'll go to the happy stuff. So I started this sweater for my granddaughter Eleanor. Her mommy called me and asked me, look at this cute bag. Isn't that a great bag? Little notion pouch. This is by Needle and Oak. Love this bag. I started this sweater. It is called the need my glasses, sorry. It's called the Arrowhead Design Boys Cardigan by Sienna Ivy. And it comes in 6 sizes. And this is a paid for pattern, so I want to be careful. But this is what it looks like. And yes, it says it's the Arrowhead Design Boys Cardigan, but it's really super cute. And I thought Eleanor would look absolutely adorable in it. So I started knitting it, and I'm knitting it on, let's see, what size needles am I using? 3.5 millimeter and 4 millimeter. So size 4 needle, US 4 needle. And I'm using Kinsey. This is a shop yarn that we have. This is one of the commercial yarns we have in the shop. And it is 50% New Zealand Merino, 10% Angora, 25% nylon, 10% alpaca, and 5% silk. It's a nice yarn. It's kind of it's a twisted yarn. It's not like a pencil roving or anything, but it does break very easily. So you got to kind of be gentle while you're knitting with it. This happens to be a tweed, and I love tweeds. So this is the back of the sweater. Can you see that okay? So it's got this really pretty lace detail here, and then a garter band right here. I don't know if it'll focus or not. It's got a garter band right there. And then stockinette stitch here. And it's really cute. Then the front of the sweater has the lace detail here. And then I started reading the pattern, and it's got this cable is supposed to go all the way, this lace that's kind of like a mock cable, it's supposed to go all the way up to the shoulder, and then you seam it in, and this sweater's done in pieces, and then you set the sleeve in after it's been knit. And okay, that's fine. I don't often do pieced sweaters just because they're more work. I give me a top down raglan any day, or bottom up raglan, I don't care. But I don't like seaming that much, but I thought it's a really cute sweater, and it's kind of something that Iris had asked for Eleanor. So I thought, well, that's okay. So in reading the pattern, I don't know what's going on. It's like she had a base pattern that she was using, and she mixed, the cable is correct, nothing else is. In the pattern that's pictured, this cable goes all the way up to the shoulder seam. This is supposed to be the left front. I actually think it might be the right front. Because there's no way when you start decreasing for the armholes, you decrease right through your cable, and that's not what's pictured. There's supposed to be there's this little waffle stitch right here that's supposed to be on both sides of the cable. It's not in the pattern. It's like, and the way this back is, I know I'm all over the place, sorry you guys. The way this back is with the garter and then the stockinette stitch, this is kind of written the same way in the pattern, but it's not what's shown. What's shown is the cable goes all the way up to the shoulder. And if I would have been paying more attention when I started knitting this part of the sweater, I would have realized that she didn't have the waffle stitch over here. There's no defining stitch between, there is on one side but not on the other, where the cable and the other, it's all wrong. And I have emailed and messaged and got no response. So the only thing that I can do is, I think I can rewrite the pattern so I can finish the sweater. I think I can figure it out, but I shouldn't have to. I paid for this pattern. This is not a free pattern. So it's really frustrating because there's so much wrong with it. I found in the lace, in the pattern for the lace part, I found one row was left out. Now, I've knit for a long time, you guys. I can figure that out. And I can figure this out too if I just really sit down and work on it. But if you're a new knitter and you thought, I love this sweater, I want to knit this sweater for my son or daughter, and you get to here after you put in all of the time to get here, you're going to be really unhappy. And you may not be able to figure it out because you don't have the experience of a seasoned knitter. And that's not right, you guys. If you have to pay for the pattern, that's not fair. I expect a pattern that I pay for to be mostly correct. I know that mistakes can happen, but when I write a pattern for something and I put it out in the world, I do my very, very best to make sure there's no mistakes in it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I try really, really hard. This isn't just leaving out a row in the lace. This is a totally different design than the one you bought, and it doesn't work. I think what happened here is she had a base pattern that she was using to do several other patterns out of, and she plugged in the lace, but she didn't plug in the rest. And so that makes it really, really, really hard to, makes it hard to knit and makes it frustrating to knit. So I'm going to put it down for a little bit, and I may or may not come back to this one because in a minute I'm going to show you the other two sweaters that I made for Eleanor, and I think she'll have enough to get through the winter and spring. So I may just sit this one, I may just frog this. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I did want to show you though. I don't know if I can get it to focus. There it goes. See, kind of, can you see that? There it is. Look at that. And look at that. These are my favorite stitch markers I've ever got. They're from a woman named Kayla Bonner, and she has a business called Tiddly Bakes. And you can find her on Instagram at, I think it's Tiddly Bakes is, and I've got, let's see, I have the hot chocolate, and the attention to detail in these things is just amazing. And my candy cane that looks like maybe I broke it. I think I broke the tip off of it. I'm not sure. And then I don't know if the rest of them are in here or not. Oh, they are. I have two little snowman sugar cookies. One is a melted snowman and one is a One is a melted snowman, and one is just a little snowman sugar cookie. Come on. Come on, camera. Come on. Oh, shoot, I don't think it's gonna, it doesn't want to focus on me here. There it goes. Isn't that adorable? Oh my gosh. And the little melted snowman, I don't know if we can make it work, but come on. There it is. So cute. And she's got a whole bunch of brand new ones out for Valentine's Day. We have worked with Kayla many times to, she does all of the stitch markers for our advent calendars that we do, and she is a talented girl. And if you're looking for some fun stitch markers for you or a gift for someone, she's the girl to go to. And they're offered, she offers them, you can get earring backs on them, you can get, or earring wires on them, and you can get the little lobster clips like for progress keepers, or you can get them on a like I got mine on a ring. But yeah, she's awesome, you guys. I love Kayla. A really nice girl. And oh, I should talk to you about these needles. These are collage needles, and these are their, every year they do a special order gold needle, and that's what these are. And they are a square needle, and they have a click in cable. I like the click in cable. They stay put, and your needle doesn't untwist, but it twists on the thing, on the cable, so your needle can move, but your cable doesn't. This is a interchangeable set, that they're gold interchangeable set. We have their normal interchangeable sets in the shop, and oh my goodness, they are so nice. The cables, they have two different kinds of cables. This is their firm cable. This is the one I prefer. They have a soft cable, and it is very soft. So my only thing with the soft cable is sometimes it bends just as you're right here, just as you're getting your stitches back up on the needle, and that can be kind of funky. But for the most part, I really, the cables are fine. It's hard for me because I am a dyed-in-the-wool Chow Goo. I am a dyed-in-the-wool Chow Goo knitter. I love their cables. I always said if I could get an Addy needle with a Chow Goo cable, it would be my absolute favorite thing in the whole wide world. But honestly, the Chow Goo tips have such a nice sharp tip, without poking a hole in my finger, because I use my finger to move my stitches. So I really do like those. Let's see, the next thing I'm working on, I'll show you that in a minute. The next thing that I'm working on is, and I may have shown this before, I don't remember. We're doing this building with lace class in the shop, and it's nine different lace panels and an applied border. So you start with a provisional cast on, COVID brain fog is real. I am not kidding you one little bit. It's like the words are here, but they don't, sorry. And then this is knit on a Riley yarn. This is a alpaca silk linen yarn, so it doesn't have much memory. I'm knitting them on my Mindful set from Knitter's Pride. This one says, I can't remember what size needle this is. Sorry. I believe it's a 6, US 6. This one says Dream. So these needles are kind of fun because every one of them says something inspirational on them. Yeah, this is a US 6. This one says Dream. I'm working on another project with one and it says Balance. And that needle, every time I see it, it just really reminds me that I really do have to balance all of this crazy work life with my real life, which is my husband and my kids and my grandchildren and the other things that I love to do. I love to cook and those kind of things. So the Balance one is nice, but the Dream one always reminds me that I can dream. And so these needles are fun. I love the cables. They remind me, they're green, kind of a tealy green, and they remind me a little bit of a Chow Goo cable. They're not quite as flexible, and they don't really have memory, so that's nice. They don't twist up when you're trying to use them. I don't know if you can see it or not, and I don't want to try and make it focus because that's too hard, but every inch they have a little white dot on them, so you can measure with them too as you go. That's kind of a nice little thing. So yeah, that's what I'm using. And for those of you that bought some of the first ones, we do sell these in the shop. Currently I don't have any. I need to get some more in, but for those of you that bought them in the beginning and had cables break, I am assured by my distributor, because I just had to get a new cable for someone, that they have fixed that problem. And as I have a broken cable right now, as a matter of fact, and as cables are breaking, they're replacing them with new cables that are not supposed to break. So we'll see what happens as they come undone right here. And this one is broken, but I'm limping it along because I don't want to change cables. They also, this is a fixed cable, and those are the ones that are breaking. They also have swivel cables, and those are doing pretty good, but I'm assured that as cables break, they are replacing cables. And in the new interchangeable sets, they're supposed to have the new cables that aren't supposed to break. So we'll see. That's my only, I love these needles. They have a nice sharp tip. They have a little bit longer shaft than, say, a Chow Goo needle. So they're a little pointier. They're good for lace, which brings me to this thing. It's a 9-paneled lace rectangular, I'm not going to call it a scarf because it's too big. I'm going to throw it on the back of the couch. I think it's going to be, it's supposed to be like 86 inches long when it's done. My daughter's way ahead of me. She's working on hers and she's covering up her feet with it as she knits. So I feel like the worst teacher in the world. We're knitting all of this on scrap yarn before we knit it on our actual shawl, so that the students in the class can get the hang of each lace pattern before they try and put it in their shawl, so they don't have to rip back as much. So I just teach them to knit the panel, but I need to knit on this. You guys, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time doing this. I love to knit lace. I don't knit a lot of lace because I'm not a lacy kind of girl, but I don't know what's wrong with me. I keep having to rip back on it because I forget a yarn over or something, and I'm not, I don't know, I'm not enjoying this yarn very much. This is the recommended yarn, and I will say this, I've seen 3 other people's shawls that are almost complete. You know, they're ahead of me, and their yarn is knitting up very, very different than my yarn. And so I finally looked at their yarn really closely, and my yarn is spun way looser than theirs. And so I'm having a hard time getting it. It just is wonky. And I can't figure out why, when theirs are so beautiful, why mine's so wonky. And that's why, because mine is spun a lot looser than theirs. So I'm getting my gauge is way different, and I'm a tight knitter. So to have such a loose gauge is just weird for me. But anyway, I think it's going to be really, really beautiful when it's done. I mean, I really do. I think it's going to be gorgeous when it's done. I would teach this class again if anybody's was interested. It is a long class. It's a 9-week class, or 10 by the time you get the border on, or maybe 11 if you want to do a blocking class with it. And I don't mind doing the blocking class because blocking is so important with lace. I'll just block mine for everybody, and then they can go home and block their own. But or I'll block them for them in the shop. But yeah, that's the service that we offer in the shop. We do blocking. But anyway, this is it's been a fun class. I will say this, the book, she did some things in the book that I wouldn't do. There's places in the book where she explains certain aspects of the knitting, and then when you get to the pattern and you're looking at the pattern, she doesn't really explain it very well. So you have to like flip back through pages to get it really explained. She does offer great video tutorial throughout the whole thing. So after the ladies leave, if they need help with anything, they can get on the video tutorial and watch it. As a class, I gave everybody a email address that they can email questions to, and I will answer any questions. I set aside a couple hours a week that we can FaceTime. So if you have a question, we can FaceTime, or you can come into the shop during that time and I will help you. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways to get help with your lace, but I would do the class again. I think it's worthy of a second run. But it's a big commitment. 9 weeks is a big commitment for knitting in a class. And of course at Christmas time, well, there was Christmas time, so we didn't knit there for a couple of weeks. And then I got sick and I couldn't be around anybody. I had to quarantine for a few days. So there was that. But we're back at it, and we're moving right along, and everybody's still having a great time, and they still look forward to coming to class. So, hey, that makes it really fun. When you have a classroom full of happy students and excited students, you're going to have fun. And there's always chocolate. So I'm not a big chocolate fan, but everybody else is. So, yeah. So my last work in progress, I usually have so much more, but I have been really focusing on getting things off the needles before I start anything new this year. So I have got a lot off the needles. So my whips are going down, but I think I'm going to start. I have a hat I'm going to talk to you about. And I think I'm going to start an Amy cardigan by Hohi Locatelli. I've been looking at that cardigan, and I have 5 colors at the shop that I really want to do. So I think maybe next time I podcast, I'll either have started it or at least I'll show you the yarn. This is a test knit. I saw this and I thought it would be really fun to knit. I want to, there's always trends in yarn. Speckles was huge for quite a while, and in hand-dyed yarns and stuff. But this is what I've noticed in this last few months. Mohairs and surreys are really big. People like to hold mohair brushed surrey with their knits, which I do too. I love that. But traditional rustic yarn, which means it's not been treated with anything. There's no superwashing involved here. Doesn't mean it's itchy. It doesn't mean it has to be itchy. Rustic does not mean it's going to make you scratch. There are rustic yarns that are very soft, but they're just not treated. And so therefore they have to be treated by us differently. But rustic yarns are really making a comeback, and this girl's thrilled with that. It's a real way to honor the animal, to knit with their wool as it comes off their body. And not that it's not washed and spun and all of that, but this is to knit with a true rustic non-treated yarn is always a joy for me. Some of them are scratchy, some of them make you itch, but a lot of them are next to skin soft. And the ability now to get the non-traditional breeds, the Cheviots, and I even saw somebody that had polypay the other day at last year at a fiber festival, and that's traditionally a meat breed sheep. Cheviot is kind of to the Shetlands. There's so many cool breeds out there, and so to be able to get your hands on their yarn and knit with it, it's really kind of cool. This is more Kenzie that I'm knitting this on, and it is a non-superwash yarn. And so this is a test knit for Fox and Folk. They do a lot of children's knits. This is a cardigan that will be steeked. The extra steeking stitches are right here. There's 5 of them, and so I'm going to cut my sweater right up the middle, and I'll have a cardigan. But it keeps the color work in the round, and you don't have to knit your color work on the wrong side. So that's why the steeking is, because you can do your color work all in the round. And so this is my sweater. I broke off for the sleeves, and I've got, I don't know, maybe another inch to go on the body, and then I'll do some shaping, waist shaping, and then another inch or 2, and then there'll be some color work, like this part of the color work in the bottom, and then a little bit more of the green, and then the ribbing, and it's got a nice wide rib on it. That'll be in this brown color here. Up here in the little poppies, these little flowers up here, after you get the sweater all done, you come back and you put little French knots in the poppies, and that'll be in the purple color. So I think once the poppies get up in there, it'll look, I'll like it a little bit more. And once I get the color work down here, and it'll kind of bring this part down here a little bit, I think I'll like it a little bit more. Right now, it's a little bit green for me, a little too green, too much green. This is what I had in the shop. I was gonna buy some yarn from Naughty Lady. I was just gonna buy some yarn, and I just thought, I'll just use what I have. So I had a lot of this green Kinsey, so I thought, what the heck, I'll go for it and use it. And because I've knit sweaters for the babies in it, but I haven't knit sweaters for me in it. Oh my gosh, you guys, the more I knit with it, the more I like it. I was really surprised, because I thought, just from feeling it, I thought it might be a little bit itchy, a little bit, you know, and I always knit sweaters for the kids out of it that, you know, they can wear a shirt under it or something. But I thought it might be a little bit itchy, but it's not. It's really soft. And this is a cardigan, so I'm gonna have a shirt on anyway, but it's got a beautiful halo to it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a beautiful, beautiful halo. That's from the Angora. And the more I knit with it, the more I like the fabric. It's got a nice, this hasn't been blocked or anything, but it's got a nice drape to it. And I think it's going to be a really beautiful sweater. Now, I think it's going to be a little bit big. The pattern, the pattern that she needed tested is a little bit big for me, has a little bit more positive ease. And this is sort of a no ease sweater. I prefer a little ease in my sweaters, so it's not going to bother me. And I am testing it, and I know that they want it to look a certain way, but I think that that it'll be fine I think it'll be fine. I don't think it's going to be that much too big. My yarn is just a tiny bit small. This is supposed to be a worsted weight. I'm knitting with the DK, but I'm using the same needle size because I got gauge with the same needle size. I'm a tight knitter, you guys. I knit really tight. I don't mean to, but that's just the way it is. So, and I try to loosen up my color work. So I think it's going to be just fine. I love the halo of this. I like that fuzzy halo. I think it's fun. A fun fuzzy halo is just really nice. But anyway, this is called the Adult Poppy Cardigan by Fox and Folk. And I am excited to get it finished and blocked and do the steek. You block it before you do the steek. And I am really excited to do that steek. I have not steeked anything. And I decided that I wanted to do some things that I haven't done before this year. So I'm going to steek the sweater. I was really excited to find a test knit that wanted a steek. So, and because I'm using a non-superwash yarn, this will steek really nice. You can needle felt the steek, and it won't go anywhere. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be really cute when it's done. I love the pattern. I think it would be really pretty with like maybe like a creamy color and a maybe a rust color and a blue or something. That would be really pretty. This is what I had, so this is what I used, but I am looking forward to getting some other color in here just to kind of break up this, like, and I love this color green, but just to break up this color green a little bit. I do wear a lot of this kind of color, so I'm happy to knit it, and I'll be happy to wear it. But I am looking forward to just a little bit more color in it. Yeah, so that is everything that I'm working on right now. We can go to my finished objects, my FOs. I have quite a few. I'll go through them really quick though, because this is getting kind of long. Let's see, I'll just grab them all here. So, a whole pile of them here. This is one of Eleanor's sweaters. And I will be really super honest with you. I started knitting this like 2 years ago. Probably 2 years ago. And it's a mosaic pattern. on here, so it looks like you get color work, but you're really only using one color at a time, and then your slipping stitches. It's a cute little pattern. It's a well-written pattern. And then I put our little Driftwood Farms. Probably won't. Come on. It wants to focus. There it is. Our little tag on it, little leather tag on it. This is Ellie Belly's sweater. I'll try and throw in a picture of Eleanor in her sweaters, because if her mom tells me it's okay, because she looks adorable in them. She really does. And she likes them. She thinks they're pretty special. So Ellie and her sweaters. So this one is called the Airy Baby Sweater, E-I-R-I, I think. And it's a mosaic knit. And it is knit, I can't remember. I think it's knit top down. I got this out of I was looking for something in where I hide all my stuff that's half done. Stuff that I'm trying to decide, am I gonna frog this? Am I gonna never finish this? That kind of stuff. I dyed all the yarn that's in this. This is a Stellina, this is a MCN, and so is this merino cashmere nylon. All superwash, so it can be, this is like a 75-25, I think. 75% merino, 20% nylon, 5% gold stellina. And this is a 80-10-10 merino cashmere nylon. It can be thrown in the washing machine. I prefer that she doesn't, but it can be, won't hurt it a bit. So this is the Airy Baby Sweater. It was a fun knit. The only reason that it got, oh, I've got yarn in my mouth, sorry. The only reason that there's so much mohair and stuff around here right now. The only reason that it got put in the bucket of the long lost, whether it'll get finished or not pile, is because I got on the sleeves and I just didn't feel like it. But when I pulled it out and I only had 1.5 sleeves and a button band to go, I thought this would be really cute on Eleanor. So I finished it and I'm glad I did. This is, we had talked about this sweater before. This is the Latte Baby Coat. I knit this in gold Kinsey and brown mohair. We call the mohair, we called it Truffle Shuffle. There's the little hood. This sweater is freaking adorable on her. It's just a good little play sweater. Well, I say it's a good little play sweater, but it has to be hand washed because it's a non-superwash yarn. But Iris knows that. So, yeah, love this sweater. I have made a couple of these. It is a top-down knit. I can't remember. There's a part of the pattern will tell you how to knit it seamlessly, but when they say seamlessly, the only seam in this sweater is this right here, the seam in the hood. So they tell you how to knit the hood without a seam in it. That doesn't bother me. That took me two seconds to, and I just did a 3 needle bind off. You could do, I put it on a provisional cast on and did a 3 needle bind off. You could Kitchener it together. This is no big deal. But they do tell you how to knit it without, yeah. But this is Eleanor's Latte Baby Coat, and I knit one of the sleeves about that much longer than the other one, but I'm not telling anybody that. So that's the Latte Baby Coat. These are my reading mitts by Susan. I'll put it in the notes, you guys. I don't remember. These I've made, I've lost count how many pairs of these I've made. I've made them for me. I've made them for other people. I can't. They're supposed to be knit out of a worsted weight yarn. I usually knit them in DK. These were knit in DK and I held a mohair with them. No, this is Surrey. I held a brushed Surrey alpaca with them. They are warm, they're comfortable. I love these things. I've made 1,000 pairs of them. They're on Ravelry. If you can use Ravelry, I suggest you, I think this is free. They knit up really, really fast, and they're super comfortable. They come in 2 sizes, a small and a large, I think. Reading mitts, love them. This is my Cove Hat by Joe Story Knits. So it's kind of slouchy, and it's supposed to be made out of super big chunky yarn. This one is made out of Aran. I think every time I make them out of a great big huge chunky yarn, they're way too big. This is made out of a non-superwash Australian sustainable yarn that I dyed. Love this hat. I have made many of these too. My granddaughter, I made them for my you knit this one flat, and then you're supposed to seam it. This one I seamed. Usually what I do is I put them on a provisional cast on, and when I'm done with it, I pick up the cast on stitches on a needle and I do a 3 needle bind off, because I think it's neater. This one I Kitchenered, and I think I'm going to go back to the 3 needle bind off. I think it makes a better bind off. But I love this hat. It's got, you make it flat. It's got this giant, huge, chunky cable that goes all the way around it, and then you just moss stitch everything else. Just super simple. Doesn't take hardly any time at all to make, and it's a really fun, warm hat. This is called the Cove Hat. Now, I cannot tell you if this is where this is available, because I got this off of Craftsy. Before it was Blueprint, the original Craftsy, that's where I got this. And when Craftsy went to Blueprint, I downloaded all my patterns that I had off of there. I didn't have very many, but this is one that I had, and I really like it. Joe Story Knits. Joe Story is not necessarily a person, but it's a company. And their thing is they make knits for knitwear patterns for big companies. But they also make knitwear patterns that are for people like me and you. I don't know if they're available on Ravelry. I haven't looked, but if they are, this is called the Cove Hat, C-O-V-E, Cove. Really nice hat. I love this thing. This is my Hipster Shawl by Joji Locatelli. And the only reason I brought this out, I knit this last fall, and it's made with colored nep tweed that I dyed. When I first started getting colored nep tweed, I wasn't really sure what to do with it, but it's one of my favorite tweed bases because you get just a teeny tiny bit of color in there. It's so much fun. I'm actually going to dye some this week. I'm almost out in the shop, but I'm going to dye some this week because it's really fun. And I'm going to make a sweater out of it this time because I've made lots of accessories out of it, but I'm making a sweater out of this colored nep tweed. Why I brought this out, because of this. Hello. These X's are in another very famous shawlography. And so when I saw him making these X's, after I made all of these X's, I was like, oh, really? But I love them. I love shawlography. I love my Hipster Shawl though too. This is a very nice, very, very nice quick knit, except for the X's take a while, but this is a quick knit and it's a really nice shawl. Hers is made out of that Mayak yarn, but this is just made out of a DK weight color nip tweed, and I wear this thing a lot. I wear it a lot, and I am happy to wear it a lot. I love it. I get compliments on it all the time. It's a great knit. My last finished object in this roundup of craziness is my shawlography. Now, I know you guys have probably seen a billion of these. This has been folded up in a basket, so it doesn't look like it's been blocked, but it has. I know you guys have seen a million of these in every color combination under the sun. But really, let's just be honest, man. This thing is gorgeous. I mean, so we had one lady in our knit group we all knit this together. So there was 7 of us knitting it, I think. 6 or 7 of us. And those ladies, we meet on Thursday nights. As you know, the clues came out on Friday. So we knit every Saturday together too for the whole month while we were knitting this. And it was so much fun. We fixed lunch for each other. We had a blast knitting this. Now, there's one lady that's not finished with hers, and that's okay. But she's working on it. She's almost done. There's one woman who complained every single day that she hated knitting this, but she wears it all the time. So I learned many things in knitting this shawl. I learned how to make welts. I learned that I learned a new way to make baubles, which I really like Stephen West's way of making baubles. I learned that I don't like I-cord. I mean, I like I-cord. I just don't like making I-cord. Oh, it's so boring. These little things, I think people started calling them shrimp, though it looks really cool in the shawl. But these stripes, I am not kidding you. I think it may have taken me longer to knit the stripes than it did all the rest of this. They seem to go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But I love this shawl. I think it's gorgeous, and I think we should all wear our Stephen West shawls proudly, because by golly, these things are a work of art. We had one lady that knit hers in this blue, gray, icy deep blue, and an orange, and oh my god, that thing was gorgeous. These are not colors that I would normally use, but as I said, I'm trying to like jump out of my comfort zone and get out of my box a little bit. So I knit it in colors that I don't normally use, and I'm really happy that I did it. I think it's beautiful. I will wear this, proudly wear this. I almost sold it at a festival that we did, but couldn't bring myself to do it. Too much work. That's on my finished objects. So a real quick, what's next? I can tell you what that is. So I told you I had a granddaughter born just before my birthday, Ruby. My granddaughter, oh, got mohair in my face again, mohair in my mouth again. Sorry. I also have a granddaughter that's born the day after my birthday. Her name is Olivia, and she's turning 15, or she just turned 15. She's said, Nana, make me a hat for my birthday. And I said, okay, Libby Sue, you come and pick out the yarn and Nana will make you a hat. So she come to the shop this last weekend and she picked out black and a pink pom-pom. Now, this is a blue black. I dyed this blue and then I glazed it in black. So, but it's so hard for me to see this in the dark and in the nighttime. And that's usually when I knit, is in the nighttime. So, I may turn this into the Harlow hat, which is by Andrea Mowry. And I may brioche this with like this color kind of pink. I have one in the shop that's kind of really super close to this, maybe a little bit darker, but still in the same kind of dusty color. And just so I can have a little bit of light in the dark. I don't know. I have to talk to her first because it's her hat and I want her to like it. But I think she might like a brioche hat. We'll see. I'll let you know next time what we decide. And then the last thing, I am so excited about this. This isn't up on the website yet, but it will be very soon. This is a collaboration yarn with, I don't know if that'll focus. Come on, there we go. No, come on. There it is. This is a collaboration with my friend Robin Hustleton of Looking Glass Wool Company. She told me last year that she had sent some of her yarn or her fleeces to the mill to be milled. And she was really excited to get them back. And she let me dye 20 skeins of this. That's all I have. All I have. 20 skeins. And I have it in a blue. I dyed it in a deep kind of olivey green. And I dyed it in this gold color. And then I left just a little bit of it in its natural color. So this is the color, the natural color of the wool. And then I dyed it in this olivey color and this really pretty orangey mustardy color and this blue and in this stunning red. That red is gorgeous. Anyway, this yarn is from her sheep. She raised all the sheep and did all the shearing. And then she sent it to the mill. This is a woolen spun yarn. Yeah, I think it's a woolen spun. I don't think it's a worsted spun. I think it's a woolen spun. And the only difference between a worsted spun and a woolen spun is a woolen spun, all the fibers go in the same direction, whereas a woolen spun, the fibers are in there differently. They don't all go in one direction, but this is a 50% Shetland. Yeah, this is a 50% Shetland, 25% BFL, and there's not a lot of BFL sheep here, so that's kind of exciting. And then 25% mohair. It is a rustic yarn, but when you feel it, it feels a little rustic, but not bad. And I have knit with it. I'm working on something. I was actually working on some mitts, but the pattern, again, the pattern was written wrong. It's really tough when you are trying to knit something up and the pattern's a mess. So I'm trying to figure out the pattern. Again, I paid for this one, so it should be right. It's by a pretty well-known designer, but it's wrong. So I'm gonna just try and figure it out and go from there. But as you knit with it, it is not at all scratchy. You could wear this stuff next to your skin. And I think probably the more you wash it, as with BFL, the softer it gets. So this should be up on the website very soon, like maybe hopefully next week. This is a true collaboration with a friend, and I am honored, 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 honored to be able to dye some of her yarn. It's beautiful stuff. 50-gram skeins. I was so honored when she brought me some. Thank you, Robin. And then the last thing I want to talk to you about is not knitting related, but I just thought I would share this little piece of my life with you. I was a English major in college. I've always loved the written word, and I always read to my kids when they were little. My youngest daughter, I'm going to cry. Sorry. Always surprises me with children's books. And she will sit on my lap while I read them to her, and she is 37 years old. 41, 30, yeah, 37 this year. This is a beautiful book, and I was going to do a video and read it to her because I didn't get a chance to read it to her yet, but I have to get through it without crying first. And I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. So I'm going to try and video this, and I will put it up on YouTube as soon as I can do it without crying. And there's a couple more that I would like to read to her too, and to my grandchildren, because there is something very, very, very special about the written word, and holding a book in your hand, especially a children's book, and seeing it. So many kids read their books on a screen now, that this kind of thing is starting to fade a little bit. And I think of myself as a young 60. I think my attitudes are fairly young, and I think I try and see the world through younger eyes. I try and hang out with younger people, just so I don't get too set in my ways. But I really do think that the sitting down and opening a book with your child is one of the most important things that we can do with our kids. Teach them to dream, teach them to imagine, teach them to see the world through someone else's eyes. And there are so many books out there that are that can teach you a beautiful, beautiful lesson in humanity and in the way that you see the world. And then there's ones that can just make you laugh. And there are chapter books out there that one of my favorite books in the whole wide world is called Dog Song. And I can't think of the writer's name is Carl. No, it's not. Shoot. I'll try and put it in the notes. It's about a boy who, he's an indigenous Alaskan native, and he's trying to find his place in the world. And that book is absolutely one of the most beautiful books I've ever read. And I read it to my granddaughter when she was, I don't know, 9, I think. So there's so much that we get from just reading a book and reading to our children and teaching our children to love the written word. It's yeah, it's a gift. It truly is a gift. And that my baby girl at 37 still brings me a book to read to her is one of the happiest, most joyous things in my life. So read a book to your kid. They'll love you for it. They really, really will. So, what are you making for dinner? Somebody put it in the comments, because I'm tired of trying to figure out what to make for dinner. Oh my gosh. I don't usually I have something I don't have any idea what to make for dinner tonight. My husband has to go have a MRI done on his knee this afternoon, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've decided something. So, I don't know. It's Friday. Maybe it'll be something fun. Who knows? Anyway, leave me in the comments. Give me give me your favorite recipe for dinner. I don't know. Link me something. I'll try anything new every now and then. Except for I made this Greek yogurt chicken one time. No, that stuff was terrible. It was a Pinterest recipe. It was awful. My husband was trying to eat it just to be sweet, but we had a lot left over too. I said, "You want that Greek chicken for dinner?" And he'd say, "No." He likes leftovers, but he didn't like that. So anyway, you guys, thanks for making it this far with me. I hope you'll come back, and I'm gonna try and do this once a month. Hopefully soon. I'll see you. And for all of you that came back and spent some time with me again, thank you. It means the world to me. So if you could like and subscribe and show me some love, I really appreciate that. And you guys, happy knitting. Take care.